Hey guys, welcome to Analog Synthesizer tutorial on Ableton. A short explanation on Analog. Analog is a virtual synthesizer created in collaboration with applied acoustic systems. Um, Rather than emulating a certain analog synth, it combines the best of many legendary synths into a modern instrument. What it tries to do is to reproduce how an analog synth would typically produce sound. It's doing that by using mathematical equations um, that pretty much describe how analog circuits will behave in real life. Analog doesn't use wavetables or samples like massive Trillion. It actually produces its own sound. So this kind of synthesis method ensures high quality, realistic, and warm sound. So we'll start with the oscillator section. As you can see, we have two oscillators and one noise oscillator. The oscillators include the pitch control of octaves, semitones, and detune, which is sense, a menu of shapes, 4 in total. The normal ones: sine, sawtooth, rectangular wave, or white noise, and also a slider that you can choose which filter you want to send the oscillator to. This is a rectangular wave rather than a square wave. This is because while you choose it, you have the option to choose its width. So 50% is a square wave, and the lower you go, the thinner the sound, the higher you go, the wider the sound. For the noise oscillator, which includes this filter choice, instead of pitch control, it has color control, which is controlled by frequencies. So the higher you go, the brighter the sound. Looking at the envelope section, you can see we have a very simple envelope, a two-stage envelope, which includes initial pitch and time. Initial pitch sets the initial pitch that will be activated while you trigger the MIDI note, and time will set how long it will take it to reach to its final value. So you can do some pitch stretches with that envelope, and it's pretty cool. We also have like these modes here. Pitch mode, you can control the pitch with the LFO or a key that decide how much you want to be in key. So 100% is pitch perfect, obviously. We have the sub sync option, which either adds a sound, a sub sound, like an octave below the original wave, or sync, which replaces the original sound with a ratio controlled oscillator. And we have the sub sync mode, which either adds or replaces the original sound. So sub will add an octave below wave, and sync will replace the sound with a ratio controlled one, an internal oscillator. 0%, there will be no effect, and as the ratio increases, so is the rate of wave cycles, thus changing frequency at the harmonic content. Moving to the filter section, as you can see, we have a filter menu we can choose out of: low pass, band pass, wide notch, high pass, or format, which controlled by frequency and resonance. Also, there's an option in filter 1 to route it to filter 2, which means you can work with linear workflow with the filters rather than parallel. Filter 2 has the option to be a slave, which means it will behave the same as filter 1 behaves. Looking at the envelope display, we can see it's the normal envelope we all know, with attack, decay, sustain, release. We have a loop option right here. We can attach velocity to attack or velocity to envelope. So the more velocity, the stronger the envelope will be. There's this drive option, which adds more voices to the original wave, makes it much louder. And we have two modes. One is FREC mode and one is rest mode. Both can be controlled with LFO, can control the key and how much the envelope will affect the knob. As you can see in the amp section, we have the same envelope, the same shape. Also, attack, decay, sustain, release, looping option, attack to velocity or envelope to velocity option, pan mode and level mode. Both can be controlled with LFO again, and you can decide how much you want the envelope to affect. Moving on to the LFO section, we have two LFOs here. Each affects its own path. So LFO 1 will affect oscillator 1, filter 1, amp 1, while LFO 2 will affect all the 2s. The LFO has two options of rate. One is hertz and the other one is sync to beat. So hertz goes up all the way to 17 hertz. And the note, you can choose whatever you want. So it could be the quarter note, 16th note, whatever. And it also includes the highest rate of cycles for the LFO. Looking at the LFO display, we can see the wave changes as I move the rate. You can choose between a sine wave, triangle, rectangular, or the white noise. Width will be opened if you choose the rectangular one. I already explained about that. Retrig will restart the LFO in the same point, which is controlled by the offset, so the same phase angle whenever you trigger the MIDI note. And the delay and attack, we all know what's that. Last section I want to talk about is the global power meters. It is global because it controls the sum signal of the whole synthesizer. So you have volume control here, vibrato you can apply on the sound, unison which adds voices, you can choose between 2 or 4 and decide the detune you want the voices to be, and glide option which I'll expand later. Looking at the display, we can see we have quick routing choices we can do, so you don't have to change all these to get the routing going, you can actually route it through here. And other options you have is control over the vibrato, the unison, and the glide mode. And the keyboard section, which can control or affect your MIDI keyboard. So you can choose the ranges you want the pitch bend to be, or octaves the keyboard will work on, whatever you want to do. So it can be controlled from here. A special feature here in the analog is actually this glide mode, which is the only one from the synthesizer you get with Ableton that has time-based glide. The other ones are legato, which means the MIDI notes needs to be overlapping in order to get the glide effect. This option allows you to create glide even though you're using staccato notes. So I'll just demonstrate right here. Bring this up a bit. So this is the basic sound pretty much that I created with LFO and amps. Adding a unison sound will sound like that. As you can see, we have more frequencies working together, more color, more sound. And we have the glide mode right here, which I'll show you the effects on right away. So that's with the glide right here. Gives it kind of a cheeky sound. As you can see, if I press legato, because the notes are not overlapping, it won't create the glide. But because we're lucky to have the time base here, only on analog, then you can create this. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. I hope you learned something. I hope you enjoy using analog, and see you next time.